it was where the park is, but across there was all prefabs. Across the road from there.
And how old were you when you moved in?
4, 5.
What's that? I mean,
Yeah, 1945 I think it was.
What, when it got built? Yeah.
Yeah, when we moved in.
Yeah.
So you moved in straight away?
Yeah,
And
because my mum was like bombed in Stuart Street, and then she went to live in Dagenham with her sister-in-law because there was no housing. So, but she used to come up to London every week to the housing, and they used to say to her, "No, Mrs. Warren, when we have something for you, we will let you know." And every week, and then she said this Friday she'd come when she got home. There was a letter, so she got this prefab.
And was she pleased? How
Oh
did she feel?
yeah, because all her family lived in the same street.
Oh, so they try to keep the community together.
Well, I don't think they
Well,
realised that.
I think the fact that all her family come out of Stuart Street and were all bombed out, and as you know, the prefabs were going up for emergency housing, so it just happened that most of her family needed emergency housing, and finished up,
All in
if
the
not
same street.
down the same street, would be round Bledner Street
Yeah,
or
backed on, next street.
yeah.
So that must have been really nice for her. Because,
Yes,
Oh,
it was,
it
yeah.
And do you remember what she thought of the prefab? Like, did she like it?
Oh
or
yeah,
did
she loved it. We all did, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I did notice that in the winter time, things used to get a bit damp in the prefabs. You'd get a little bit of mould, but in the summer they were really warm.
Yeah.
Because they used to hold the heat, didn't
Unlike what they've done at Catford now, what Peter's done, put central heating in. But when we was over there, we was talking to some of the residents, and they say they still get cold in the winter because
right.
the walls are only
very
thick.
thin. Yeah.
So most of the heat is sort of going through the walls, and the lady we spoke to didn't have double glazing either, so she would have still had the old crittle windows. And when we were there, that would freeze up in the winter. It was so cold inside, so inside would be a sheet of ice now.
Like frosting. It used to look lovely on the window.
Now what Peter was telling me at Catford, what they done, they put little gutters underneath the window and drilled an hole through, so when it thawed out, it then run outside instead of running down the walls.
Okay, that's smart.
So,
So can you describe for us what your prefab looked like? Can you remember?
You went through the street door into a hallway, and off the hallway was a toilet and a bathroom, and also an airing cupboard. Then there was a door into our living room, and off the living room was another door into one bedroom, a door off the living room into a kitchen, and in the kitchen was a door to the other bedroom.
Oh, that's an interesting layout. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was a nice bathroom.
what did we call the kitchen? I didn't call it.
Well, we called it the kitchen, kitchenette. My dad used to call it the scullery.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Scullery, the kitchenette was the front room.
No, that was a. No, we used to call. Yeah, you're right. My dad used to call the living room the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the kitchen would be in the scullery.
Got all sort of posh, and it went kitchenette.
Yeah.
But to move into something that already had a cooker, and I can remember it had a cupboard that it had like slats on that let air in, and it had trays, like wire trays for your vegetables, and it had a shelf that was sort of let in that you put pots on. I don't think my mum ever put her pots on there, but that's what they were for. The table was one that folded up, which that was lovely until very modern furniture come out with chrome legs and that. My mum pushed that table up, that wasn't used. But no, it had everything that you needed, lots of storage space. And I know in my mum's bedroom there was, like, I think it was for linen, your dirty linen. It pulled down. It was let into the wall, but you pulled it down for the dirty linen. Then it had another cupboard, a wardrobe, I suppose it would have been. Then next to that was another cupboard with shelves. Each wardrobe, each bedroom had wardrobes in. And, yeah, lots of storage space.
But it also had a copper
Yeah.
in the kitchen where Mum would make the Christmas puddings and the spotted dicks and and boil the sheets up and
Yeah, because the copper was for laundry, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But she used it. She doubled it up as
before the washing machine.
Yeah, and to have a fridge, you know, so early on, you know, I mean, when I was at school, most of the kids, you know, had old terraced houses, no bathrooms and nothing like that, so you did feel quite privileged, really. Did we get teased through living in a prefab or teased?
Or look down a bit. Or...
No.
In fact, I think
yes,
you're lucky to have this. Because they were like little bungalows, you know. I remember I had an old aunt, well, a great aunt she was, and she lived in Bethnal Green. And she came over to the island. She hadn't been onto the island for a long time. I don't know if you know the East End at all. Do you know the Salmon and Ball at Bethnal Green? There's a pub called the Salmon and Ball. And behind that is a really old block of flats. I don't know whether they're still there now, but she came from there, so they had no lifts or anything. And when she came down our street, she said, it's just like being on a holiday, because all these little bungalows, as she called them, everyone looked after their garden, didn't they? All had beautiful gardens. It was lovely, our street. Yeah. Our grandfather came to live with us. He just turned up one day, didn't he? He used to come, he lived at Dagenham, and he used to come every Friday, and he used to go to the local theatre, which was the Queen's Theatre, and it was up in Poplar High Street. And this particular night, I think it was raining or something, and my mum said, oh, you could stay the night. So he stayed, and I think one of us slept on the settee at the time. And then the next day he was going, and we said, well, I remember saying to him, are you going home now, grandfather? He said, yeah, but I'll be back later. And of course he did, he came back with all his, but he didn't tell my mum, and he just turned up, and that was it.
Yeah.
But we had, as I say, all our family lived down the same street, and my mum's sister lived a few prefabs down, and I used to go down there and sleep because there wasn't really enough room. So I think then George slept in the front room, did you? In the
No, me and grandfather shared.
Oh, did you?
Well, I mean, he took your bed, if you like. I mean, so there was two single beds in there, and he slept on one, and...
Oh, right. When we were young, I mean, as I say, my dad was in the dock. My mum didn't go to work, but my mum's sister, she had a nice home because Aunt Beck always went to work. So she could have, I mean, I think she was one of the first to have a television down our street, my mum's sister, a little, you know, 9-inch, and we all used to go and watch.
And they used to have the Beano and Dandy every week, so we used to go down and watch the telly and read the Beano and Dandy.
Yeah, so... But our prefab, I mean, my mum loved it. And then when my dad had an accident in the dock, didn't he? And was a nasty accident, but he got compensated.
Again, I don't, looking at it back now, I think it's only about 1,500.
Yes, but I mean, I was 15 at the time, so it was 1955. So, and he got this money, and because then we had a new free piece and a television and a radiogram, as they called them.
Top 20?
Yeah. When my mum got bombed in Stewart Street, I was just a baby. So, and my mum's home, she lost all of her home and had to move to Dagenham. So, I was 5 when we came back and started school here. So, and it was all, I mean, your playgrounds were bombed houses, that's where you played, or bits of debris and But to us that was fun. You'd get bricks and you'd make a house and that's how you spent your time.
Back then, I mean, November the 5th bonfire night, you know, there was no health and safety then. I mean, all the kids would walk around with bangers in their pockets and whatever.
Yeah.
And, there was, but the bomb houses become your wood supply for your bonfire. You know, the kids would be in there.
And
they didn't need dismantling because the kids done it.
yeah, it was just the shell. And then on our side, we had a little row of shops, and then there was our prefab, and then we lived in a little road. Yeah, it was only 7 in our road, wasn't there?
Well, originally when we moved in, it was called Strattledale Street.
Yeah.
But we come home from hop picking one year, and there was a signpost outside our prefabs saying Atworth Street.
Oh, so they changed the name of the...
Yeah.
Oh.
So they changed the name, but evidently they resorted to a earlier name that street was.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't remember the island before prefabs.
Right, of course. Yeah.
No, I've seen aerial photos and
I mean, my mum used to talk about living in Stewart Street, you know, and
Sadler's Park and
you just think both my mum and my dad lived in Stewart Street, so when they used to talk to us and tell us, you just feel like you've lived there because you hear so many stories, you know, and one aunt lived up this end, one aunt lived down that end, and I mean, you didn't have a lot, but as I say, what you don't have, you don't miss.
Nobody had a lot. And that was the thing.
Everyone was in the same boat, you know, but we had a great childhood. Yeah. You know, when you played in the street, you know, skipping and play 2 balls up the wall and, you know, and everyone could do skipping good and I just think it was a great time. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And again, because the partition between the front room and the bedroom were cupboards, if anybody got married or 21st, but that used to come out. And then you'd have a fair size hall, if you like, or a fair size room, and you'd have your reception there. I mean, again, a wedding dinner then would have been mashed potato and ham, wouldn't it? And it was all cooked in the kitchen. And
when I got engaged, my dad and my uncles took the partition down, so I had a dinner there. And we put trestle tables right through, but my other cousin, I was going to say everyone had their weddings in prefabs. Mm-hmm. I think I was one of the first to have my wedding in a hall. I used to belong to the Dockland settlement years ago. Yeah, and that's where I held my wedding. In there, but all my cousins.
So they had their parties in the
prefab, yeah.
I'll read you this is what I wrote for one of my relations, as it happens. It's on an anniversary card, but it might give you a little bit of an idea. It was 25 years ago today that both of you did marry. 25 years ago today that you became Mr. and Mrs. Barry. Your reception was in a prefab, 2 rooms knocked into one. No disco bands or groups or such, but was that party fun? For you had the old Joanna, and there was plenty who could vamp a tune. There was always someone who could sing a song. There was plenty who could croon. Knees Up Mother Brown, the Lambeth Walk, the Okey Pokey and the Conga were dances that would last all night and go on even longer. Eventually that prefab did become your home, a sports centre come studio. For when there was no ping pong being played, you were filming or taping a show. A tea chest base and a scrubbing board, a skiffle group you would be taping, or with cine camera in your hand, a film you would be making. Eventually they knocked our prefabs down, and our little island was sadly dying. And although they destroyed our island communities, they couldn't knock down your silver lining. They couldn't never destroy 25 years of marriage. That is plain for all to see. 25 years along life's bumpy road to reach this silver anniversary. So to you, our Maud and Bonker, to you, our Bill and Bet, we send our heartfelt sterling silver wishes, best you'll ever get. But that would just give you the wedding, and most of them we didn't, but most of them did have a piano.
Yeah.
And nobody had piano lessons, but they could all get on.
Yeah.
And there were plenty of people who would sing and.
So it was a friendly community.
Yes.
You made your own entertainment, basically. Quite funny because one of my uncles was a bit clever. He put his hand to anything, and my dad was a bit of a pub entertainer. I mean, he could sing and that. My uncle had wired the wireless up with a microphone, and my dad was out in the passage singing, so it was coming through the wireless. And they said, "Your dad's on the wireless," and we was running up and down the street, and everybody's trying to, weren't they, tune in? When we go and get it.
Yeah.
It was.
I remember I come out of my aunt's prefab, as George was saying, and my uncle had rigged up this so that my dad, and I thought my dad was singing because it was coming through on the radio. Oh, and I ran out, and one of my uncles who lived opposite in prefabs, I said, "My dad's on the radio, what station?" I said, "Oh, I don't know." He said, "Was it the home station light?" I said, I don't know what station, just try any station." And each person I came to, "My dad's on the radio." I think my mum's prefab, she moved out of her prefab in November 1964.
Mm-hmm. And why did she leave? Why did she move?
Because they were pulling them down.
Oh, because they were.
Yeah.
Did she want to move or was
No.
she
No, she didn't want to move.
And George, in your poem you said like once the prefabs came down, it was your island was dying. Did it feel that way? That
Yes.
the community was
absolutely, it did.
Yeah.
Not only that, we knew the docks were in decline. All the industry was basically going.
And would you live in a prefab today?
Yes, I would.
Yes. I mean, with with the technology they got out, double glazing and and insulation and all that. Absolutely, yes. I mean, people now are selling up and going into these mobile homes, which is exactly the same thing. I should imagine the fact that it was detached and the garden and I mean, I've got photos of me. I used to climb up on the roof and sunbathe up there and
because they had flat roofs.
Yes.
I mean, I told you my granddad used to live with us and we had the old coal fire there, and he did suffer like bronchitis or whatever it, but he always had phlegm. And when he used to bring it up, he used to spit it into the fire. Most times he was a good shot, but sometimes it'll be running down. I mean, it would sort of.
I don't really want to.
It would sizzle up and burn off, but then when me mum started getting electric coal effect fire, like that, and as far as my grandfather was concerned, it was a fire. So I mean, when we first got it was. I mean, I think my mum soon put him right, and then bought him a mug to spit into. But
well, it was this nice little black fire with the doors, and the doors were open, and I was cleaning it, and it shone. And then all of a sudden, my grandfather went, and it went right over my cleaning, and I went, "I've just cleaned that." I think I was about 15 at the time. "I've just cleaned that, look." And he looked at me and said, "Don't be such a saucy cow." And I said, "But I've just cleaned it." I said, "I made it look nice." Oh, I was in tears. I remember going out to my mum and saying, "Grandfather's just spat on my cleaning."
Do anything else?
My dad liked to garden, didn't he?
Yeah, and round about September time, he used to go and get a little chick, and we had a little run out the back garden, and that would be our Christmas dinner. I mean, didn't have turkeys back then. I mean, chicken was your Christmas dinner.
Did they grow any veg? Or?
Yeah. So.
Yes, he did grow some vegetables.
Yeah,
carrots and onions, potatoes.
And peonies.
Yeah, he liked flowers.
And gladiolus.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that's true, or maybe he's come out with that story where he'd wrung this chicken's neck, plucked it, and hung it up in a shed. And evidently he's gone out the next day and the chicken's sitting up there with his head with no feathers on. But I don't know whether that's because he used to come out with stories and that, so I don't know whether it's one of these stories.
Yeah. But they were good. And I think because when I was at school and I used to come home from school, perhaps 4 o'clock or 3:30, and my mum wouldn't be in, and I would know where she was because she would be in one of my aunts. So you always knew, and there was always someone on hand to help. And at Christmas time, when my mum used to make Christmas puddings, Christmas cakes, everything, jam tarts,
custard tarts.
Yeah. And if she'd run out of something like nutmeg or cinnamon or something, she'd say, I'll run down to Aunt Beck and ask her if she's got, and it was 2 minutes down the road, and my aunt used to say, oh, I've just used on my, go and ask Aunt Emma. So I'd go to the next aunt, so it was just a real, and I think that is why my mum never had friends as such, never had, didn't go in people's houses for tea, because she always had her family so close. And then when all the prefabs came down, the street just moved. One aunt went down one street, and then it wasn't so.
And gradually they moved off the island to Bexley and Dartford.
Yeah.
Belvedere,
Yeah. So do you think it's a shame the prefabs came down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Again, I suppose. These are not too bad, but to replace them with sort of skyscrapers and
see, I think with prefabs, you could see your next door neighbour, you could talk. I mean, in these high rises now, they come out onto a landing, don't they? You don't see no.
As you said when you first moved in here, like we used to take it in turns of cleaning the steps and all that, and then people started buying them and subletting them, and once you rent them out, people said, "Oh no."
Yeah.
That's the photo of the prefabs taken off of the first aid tower.
Oh yeah.
And our prefab would have been more or less right opposite this one. That's in the kitchen.
Is that you?
Or the scullery.
Is that you?
Yes, that's
George.
George.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'll own up.
Yeah.
Very handsome. Where are you going? You look like you're going for a job interview.
I'll probably go
Going on a date.
Yeah.
Oh, great.